Um, yeah, after the seminars in the summer, I came to see that I want to channel. Also, now during the discussion, I remembered other desires that came up and I skipped over.
Yes.
One was like fixing for people, like sockets, lamps, and I like fixing things.
Like fixing things, yeah? Good. Yeah.
As a child.
Yeah.
And as well, I had this desire to talk about fear, about people like, I'm still in fear, and with channeling, every time I have somebody coming, especially the first time I was trembling all the way. It definitely challenges the fear.
Yeah.
And also, I guess fear was what made me skip over of the other two I want to do.
Yes.
Going to people's houses who I don't know. I'm a woman who knows, you know.
Exactly.
All these fears. So I guess it's getting clear now what I need to do.
Exactly. And if you fully embrace these passions and desires, you won't have to worry about money. Like, the money will just flow into your life. You know, you don't need to worry about those kind of things at all. But what we finish up doing most of the time is we don't change from what we're doing to the new thing because of a fear. And that is the fear that we won't have enough in the meantime to look after ourselves. And yet, if you fully engage your passions and desires, you'll be surprised how rapidly things come to you. Even when you're feeling destitute, things will come to you to help you get through that period of time, so that when you engage your desires purely and fully, everything will then come to you at that point. Yeah.
But there's also a thing that sometimes, because I have this thing of I want to do what other people tell me to please, so I realized all my life I did things, different kind of things, sports, which I always quit at the end.
Yes.
And realized probably wasn't really my, now I know my desire.
Yep.
And how can I distinguish when it's mine and not mine?
Well, I think you've already answered your question, really, because the way to distinguish is if nobody else is invested in your desire, you don't feel like doing it anymore, then it's highly likely it wasn't your desire in the first place.
Okay, so it falls away anyway.
So if it falls away, and when people become disinterested, then that tells you that your desire was more about pleasing people, certain people generally, than it was about having a desire to do the particular thing you were doing.
But it was also desires which I was only involved myself, like going snowboarding alone.
Yes?
Or...
So why did that fall away?
I got injured.
Right. So can you see how a fear kicks in?
Oh, okay. Or...
See,
sometimes I felt also like I'm cool. You know, I'm going snowboard alone and you know, surfing and maybe it wasn't.
So a bit of addiction there in terms of showing off to people and saying I'm a cool person because I can do these things.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, clear.
And when you let go of those addictions or fears, you'll probably find you'll like snowboarding again, but this time it'll be in a pure desire. You'll want to do it, not to show off, not to prove to other people that you're cool, just because you like it. You like doing it, and you're passionate about doing it.
It could be also that it's pure desire and injury inside, both.
Most of the time our desires begin as injuries mixed with desires. And this is why I say we need to be prepared for God to purify our desires. When we have a desire and our desire isn't being satisfied, we need to understand that there is some impurity in the desire that we need to address. And the key is to feel the frustration or feel the other emotions involved. And when you get through those emotions, you'll find that all of a sudden the desire will take off again. Like the events will take off again.
And you're gonna have to be prepared for even the look and the feel of the desire. It might change. So for me, I started work. When I was a kid, I wanted to serve people and help people. That was going to be my job, and so I was going to be a psychologist. And then I got a better score when I left school. I got a really good score when I left school, and I shocked myself. And I thought, I could do anything I want. So I looked around and I thought, there's this thing called occupational therapy. Seems very holistic, you know. You work with the whole of the person, but I didn't really know. It wasn't very connected to that desire. I just went, I'll just do it. I'll just go to university. Lots of approval from my family to do that. So went off there and did that and studied that for 4 years. And then I left university and I practiced it for 8 years. By the end of 8 years, or by the end of 4 years, I was like, yeah, I'm not loving this. It's got to be more for me. So what am I going to do? I know I'm going to take this profession to the Middle East. I'm going to work in a refugee camp because I was really passionate about that. That is more in tune with, I wanted real issues, I wanted real people, I wanted real life. I didn't want, which is a horrible insult to the people I was serving, by the way, in Australia. I admit my own arrogance there. But obviously there was something in this system that I was working in. I was working in a big government health system and I had all of my issues about authority and bureaucracy that I didn't like.
And rebellion.
I had rebellion against those things. And maybe I wanted to be a bit cool as well. Possibly. Quite likely. Quite likely. So I went, okay, this isn't my desire. My desire is to go and work in the refugee camp. What do you think I attracted when I got to the refugee camp? Massive issues with authority and bureaucracy. I'm living in a 50-year-old refugee camp run by a tiny wing of the United Nations. It's full of bureaucracy, it's full of authority, there's all kinds of dramas. But I still thought, no, this is more my desire. This is what it's about. Because all the time, so I'd challenge one fear and then I'd be confronted with the error that I hadn't challenged. So, I was afraid of getting bored and old in the health system. So I went to somewhere that I thought was much more glamorous and exciting. And when I got there, I found I had to deal with all the issues that weren't pure already in my desire. Bureaucracy, I wasn't very cool there either. Well, actually, I probably held on to the cool. I held on to the cool. The next phase challenged the cool. So I started my master's degree. I was going to work with refugees for the rest of my life. I thought I'd found it, finally, loved it.
So this was in Lebanon?
Yeah.
So, yep.
Mind you, I was full of anger. There was all this anger growing in me about injustice. And so I thought that I was in my passion, but I found myself, towards the end of my 2 years in Lebanon, suddenly feeling really depressed. I felt really apathetic. Nothing made sense much anymore. And so obviously the impurity of my desire is beginning to show up. I fly home and I meet this guy, which challenges the cool part of the desire.
I'm not very cool.
Well, it wasn't cool to my social set back then to start a relationship with Jesus and have God in the equation. So right back when I was a kid, I always wanted to understand this God thing. It was this quiet thing I kept underground my whole life. I was always reading spiritual books and talking to people about their beliefs. I was really attracted to anyone who devoted their life to God. I wanted to talk to them, priests, nuns, monks, sheikhs. I was fascinated with them all. I'd go to churches all over the world and just sit in there. But loving God in my family is not very well received.
It's not cool.
It's not cool, and you've kind of become an idiot. You've given your intellect and your life up to something. And also, of course, I attracted all of these friends with exactly the same belief. So now I feel that I'm actually living much closer to my desire, my pure desire, but it looks very different to what it did 15 years ago when I was trying to stay safe in my desire, trying to make money out of my desire, all those things. Yeah, and mind you, I still have a lot of fear to go, so I'm sure it's going to change in its presentation, but yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.